Hey everyone, Kevin here, hoping that you are spending this crazy time safe and healthy. I want to start first by sending a wholehearted thanks to all medical professionals who are or will be working their tails off during this crisis. You are all risking your lives to save others, and that is something most of us will never repay or even fully understand. Also, thank you to all the essential workers at grocery stores, post offices, delivering food, keeping the lights on. The entire city is leaning on you at this time, and again, we will be forever in your debt. Now, I'll admit, for the first few weeks of the crisis, I was freaking out pretty hard. My podcasting business, Q9, is only a year and a half old, and I have a mortgage to pay. As tons of interviews got canceled or postponed, one after the other, I started wondering whether I should pack things up and go back to working a 9-to-5 tech job just to keep a roof over my head. I actually did start looking around. But I also strongly believe that life happens for you, not to you, and that there's always opportunity to be found in any scenario, no matter how bleak it may seem. For me, that comes in the form of a harsh reality check as a business owner. I graduated college in 2014, which we now know was smack dab in the middle of the most prosperous time in U.S. economy history, but is also bookended by, at the very least, two of the three largest recessions in U.S. history in 2008 and now 2020. Talk about a roller coaster. Still, in my adult life, I have only ever known economic prosperity. That means I have taken huge risks on several entrepreneurial ideas, a social media app based around piñatas, a lockbox for outside your house, all of which, except this one, have failed. So far, I have come out completely unscathed. That time is over. And really, it's a gift, because now I'm going to be forced to really learn how to make tough, brass tacks decisions as a business owner. And as you're about to hear, that is probably the most important lesson any aspiring business owner can learn. This upcoming season of Philly Who is going to be supported by several brands and organizations, but primarily by the Philly startup Crossbeam. Crossbeam was founded by Bob Moore and Buck Ryan, both of whom have had previous startup success in Philly. The last person-to-person contact I had before social distancing out of abundance of caution was actually when I visited the Crossbeam offices to interview Bob and several Crossbeam team members. Now, we all knew then that life was about to change a little bit because social interactions were already beginning to shut down, but we had no idea of the size and scale of the financial and societal crisis that was just on our doorstep. Nonetheless, as Bob started talking a bit about his own story, which you will definitely hear more of on this podcast, he started talking about what he claims was the most critical time of his journey as a Philly entrepreneur. That time wasn't during any of his multi-million-dollar fundraising rounds, it wasn't any of his successful exits, nor was it during the unprecedented economic boom of the 20-teens that completely transformed Philadelphia. No, Bob's most crucial time as an entrepreneur, where he learned the most and the time that was most valuable to him, was during the Great Recession, when the economy was in shambles.
Capital was constrained. The macro environment around us was not extremely conducive to what we wanted to do. So basically where we were fighting an uphill battle, not just because of internal classic normal startup challenges, like do people want to buy our software and can we hire the right people, but external challenges such as it's not that no one wants to invest in us, it's that no one wants to invest. Or it's not that no one wants to buy our product, it's that no one wants to buy products. And operating in that environment, I think, has provided a certain level of, for lack of a better term, like scar tissue that just provides an additional lens through which you can look at any given situation. And I think it's a good sanity test, particularly in 2020, when like there's a lot of volatility out there in global markets in a bunch of different sectors, including tech. And that allows us to think and plan in a way where we want to make sure that we are taking yes for an answer when the market's working, but we also want to be intellectually honest about the way in which the market is responding to what we're doing, and making sure that it comes from a place of strong product market fit, the creation of value for our customers, as opposed to like an irrational frenzy where everyone has more money than they know what to do with. So they'll take a shot on some new products. That's a nuance, but I think it's one that is really hard to accumulate unless you've been through the bad times in addition to the good.
Now, I can't speak for Bob, but I know I definitely didn't understand when we recorded this on March 11th, 13 long days ago, that we were pretty much about to re-enter that stage of economic headwind. But I'll admit, I haven't stopped thinking about this response since then, and it's brought me great hope. You may not relate to the situation in the same business-focused manner of products, services, markets, and validation, but I think the overall point rings true. It's time like these that teach us the things we really, really need to know and learn to unlock who we really are. After you've secured the safety, health, and wellness of yourself and your loved ones, I invite you to think about whatever it is you may be afraid or anxious about at this given time and ask yourself, how can this be a gift? Over the course of this season of Philly Who episodes, in addition to hearing new inspirational stories from Philly's doers, thinkers, and performers, you'll hear more from Bob and his team about his journey and the journey of RJ Metrics, Stitch, and Crossbeam. But before that happens, I actually want to hear a little bit about your story. And I want to hear it. I don't want to just know about it. One of my favorite parts of the interview process is actually when the interview is over. After spending a couple hours reliving the key moments of their journey, the guest almost always pauses, takes a deep breath, and says, "Wow, that was cathartic." Even in normal times, we don't usually pause to take a long, hard look at where we are, where we're going, where we've been, yet we spend so much time worrying about whether we can achieve the life that we want to lead. But the act of telling your own story, recapping where you've been, and just seeing the story arc that you're writing while you're writing it, taking that 30,000-foot view of your story can be one of the most calming and reinforcing things to do. So let's share stories with each other. I want you to send me a voice memo at podphillywho@gmail.com telling your story. What's your current venture, pursuit, or challenge? Why do you love Philly? What's a moment that you're proud of where you took a big risk or bet on yourself or changed somebody's life? Tell me as much as you want for as long as you want. And as you're doing so, take a look back and remember that this is just a point in that story, and maybe appreciate all the other points that have gotten you to where you are today. And maybe ask yourself how this moment could be a gift, could be an inflection point in your story. You don't have to pressure yourself to write the next American novel, but maybe there's lessons to be learned, new things to try, things to create. So again, using the Voice Memo app on your phone, record yourself telling a bit of your Philly story. What I ask guests to do before an interview is to think about it like we're telling a story at the dinner table. This happened, then that happened, and he said this and she said that. Take me into those moments as if I'm there right now. Why was it meaningful? How did you feel? Tell the story. Email it to us at podphillywho@gmail.com, and we just might wind up sharing it here on the show. I'm not really sure what the cadence will be of new episodes, as interview scheduling right now is really crazy, and also the livelihood of my podcasting business, like all businesses right now, is pretty uncertain. But we will be pushing forward and getting as many Philly stories to your ears, especially at this crazy time, as we possibly can. If you have the means and would like to support the show, it would go a really long way, especially now. And we do take donations at podphillywho.com/donate. Also, if you know any local businesses or organizations who may be interested in sponsoring the show, drop us a line at podphillywho@gmail.com. If you have any questions for me, or if you just want to say hey, you can find us on social at podphillywho. In this time of uncertainty, fear, and discomfort, let's take time to reflect and celebrate the incredible moments that we've shared together here in our beautiful city. And as we do that, and as we get through this together, albeit virtually, let's remember that there are plenty more incredible moments to come. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you really soon right here on Philly.